on some of my platforms so other people can join and watch. Yeah. Yes. So kindly share so other people can join. I'm streaming live from JC Radio TV. Streaming live of my Facebook page, my YouTube page, Bush2G9, the correctional officer, Baba Shripe. And I'm streaming live from my Facebook pages. That is Baba Shripe and then the correctional officer. So kindly share when you join so other people can join us as soon as possible. Thank you all for coming. This is the Islam and what the Quran says series. I actually did the first, you know, episode that was about 3 weeks ago. Unfortunately, I had to. There has to be some breaks in between. So now I'm back, thanks to God. So peace be upon you all once again. I seek refuge with Allah against the accursed devil. So kindly share, then we can start today's program. I started a bit late. I think, yeah, I started a bit late due to some few mishaps here. I see you all. I see Zura. Yeah, I see Zura. I see Bilal Jibril. I see you. Salam. Nazir NSC. Mohammed. Yeah, brother Mohammed S. Junior Butler. I see you. Salam. Long time. Zura Hello says, peace to you all. Do you plan on doing a live stream refuting all the claims on the super dumb hadith rejector stream from the Sunni Mohammedans? I actually did a program that was on Wednesday, right? And I spoke about them somehow. I shared some of the flyer and I spoke about those mushriks. And yeah, I'll give it some thought. I think I have to take their videos and go through that. But at least I wasn't expecting something different. As usual, this is how they are. They make mockery of you guys going on their programs and so on. So I'll recommend you boycott such platforms, right? They are just there to make a mockery of you. Uh-huh. So thank you all for coming. Kindly share so other people can join. We are going to talk about Islam and what the Quran says based on the Quran. The last time I did a program is based on the misconceptions people have concerning what Islam is and what the Quran says. Salam, Sister Alama Johnson, I see you. Uh, yeah, thank you all for coming. Kindly share so other people can join us as soon as possible. Uh-huh. So I seek refuge with Allah against the accursed devil. And this is my way I invite to Allah by perception, I and whoever follows me, and glory be to Allah, for I am not among the idolaters, right? This is Baba Shrive, the correctional officer. Uh, okay, so I guess now I can start, right? Yeah. So first of all, what I'm going to do is we talk about Islam. Like I said, the last time I did this lecture here, I spoke about Islam being an Arabic word. It's not an English word, right? It's an Arabic word. However, it has been Romanized uh, as Islam in the modern day. So people use the word Islam, Islam, just like somebody who practices Islam, we call him Muslim, which is still an Arabic word. But when they Romanized it to English, people keep saying, I'm a Muslim, I'm a Muslim. So people think it's a new concept, as people assume Islam only started in the 7th century at the time of Prophet Muhammad, which is not the case, right? Which is not the case. If you read chapter 36 of the Quran, you start from verse 1 and you come to verse 11. It tells you that clearly Prophet Muhammad, his people never had a message from God or have any idea or concept of Islam. So he brought it, he was sent to them to present that to them. So in those verses, chapter 36, verse 1 to verse 11, when you read downwards, it tells him he's a messenger in order to warn a people whose fathers were not warned, right? So they have no idea what the real Islam is. But it doesn't mean Prophet Muhammad, as a messenger, was the first to bring Islam. No, Islam has been propagated already by the prophets and the messengers before him, who preceded him. And they had a clear message, meaning you have to surrender to God. So, what is Islam? When we bring it to English, which is submission. And what is submission? Submission is the act of submitting, usually surrendering power to another, right? Or we can say the condition of having submitted to control by what? By someone or by something else, right? So that is submission. So this defines Islam. So when we say Islam, it is an Arabic word. However, when you Romanize it to English, then you have what we call submission. So somebody who practices submission is called a submitter. So when you take it back to Arabic language, then we say Muslim. A Muslim practices Islam, right? Just like a submitter practices submission. That is what Islam is about. So for people who think when we say Islam, it has to be with the Arabic people or the Arabians, you're wrong. Islam didn't start with Arabians, right? But the point is, they were Muslims to who? They were Muslims to God. You just need to understand the concept of Muslim, to submit. That is why Jesus, peace be upon him, I was not sent but to the lost sheep of Israel. Sent so that these people can know God, right? You submit to the will of God. That makes you a submitter. So by this, then we say Muslim, right? So modern day, we just keep using the word, I'm a Muslim. Oh, what are you? I'm a Muslim. Somebody will say, I'm a Christian. No, that's not the idea. You are submitting to one God. You are doing the will of God, not the will of people. When it comes to religious affiliations, right? You belong to a religion and you're doing what your sheikh or what your imam or what your pastor or what your cleric tells you. You are only submitting to them without actually verifying where the source of command is coming from. So Islam is about obeying the commands of God and doing his will, not your will. And that is why we call it submission, because you surrender to someone superior than you or someone who has control over you. So in that case, that makes you what, a submitter or somebody who has surrendered himself, right? Salam Tujis Darilis, I see you. So kindly share the on other people can join. I can see people joining now. So as it goes, I'll be sharing the screen to show you some of the verses as time goes on. Then you can actually keep up to the program of today. Let me see. Can I? Okay. Yeah, I'll be going to the point where I'll be answering questions, but let me deal with the topic of today. I don't have much to talk about. Then I'll give the chance for question and answers, right? So, like I said, we said Islam is an Arabic word, not an English word. So, for whoever is listening today, if you think when we say Islam, it's a new concept, it has never existed, we never heard of it before. Yes, you never heard because it's an Arabic word, right? However, the concept of Islam has already been there. If you go to the Bible, even you go to James chapter 4, verse 7, it is clearly there, the act of submitting to God. It takes from you. That in turn makes you a submitter to God. So in actual sense, when you go to Quran chapter 2, verse 208, it says, "Oh, you who believe, enter into submission entirely and do not follow the steps or footsteps of the devil. Indeed, he is a clear enemy to you." So that makes you a Muslim, which is an Arabic word. So that makes you a submitter because you have entered into submission. And that means you're willing to follow the commands and instructions of God, right? So that gives you faith. Because you have faith, you do the will of God. If you don't have faith, you don't do the will of God. You do what you want, right? And that's why people do what they want these days, all right? They will just do what they want. But because you are a submitter to God, you do as God commands. That's the difference, right? Aha. So thank you all for coming. I can see Osman, Sam, I see you. I see Emily Trinity, uh, Sumaila Suleiman, Halley Free Riders, I see you. Thank you all for coming. I appreciate your presence and kindly share so other people can join. This is Islam and what the Quran says, as you see in the description down there, right? No Salam, you're welcome. Aha. So I'll just deal with the topic of today. Then I'll give chance for question and answers where people can ask questions. Yeah. Let me see here. Okay. So the first verse we are going to deal with, when we say somebody has submitted his will, so let's take the case of Prophet Muhammad alayhi salam. So I take you to Quran chapter 27 verse 91, right? Yeah, chapter 27 verse 91. Let me see. Where do I go? Chapter 27. And as time goes on, I'll be sharing the screen as usual. Then you get to, yeah. So let's see what happens with this. So let me share the screen. Yeah, so this is Quran chapter 27 verse 91. Yeah, that is Surah An-Naml, chapter of the ant, right? It's because the chapter speaks about the ants as well, right? Naml. But when you go to Quran chapter 27, verse 1, in that verse, because he, Muhammad, peace be upon him, was sent to his people who were not aware of who God is. You know, they don't know about God, the real God, I mean, and they don't know how to serve God, and they don't know how to practice the commands that God has instructed. So this is what he says. Innama umirtu an abuda rabba hazihil baldat. Then he says, Lazi harramaha walau kullu shay'in. Wa umirtu an akuna min al muslimin. Right? Then verse 92 says, Wa an atlu al Quran faman ittada fa innama ya'tadi li nafsi wa man dalla fa qul innama ana min al munzirin. So when you take Quran chapter 27, verse 91 to 92, it says, I, Muhammad, that is Muhammad speaking, right? I have only been commanded to worship the Lord of this city, right? Who has made it sacred. And to him belongs all things. And I have been commanded to be of the submitters. So in actual sense, in Arabic, we says, akuna min al muslimin, right? To be of the what? Muslims. So, like I said, the word Muslimin or Muslim has been Romanized into English, and people keep using it. Oh, he is a Muslim. I am a Muslim. Or they are Muslims. So people think that is a new concept or a new religion, right? It's an act of submitting yourselves to the will of God. So, and I have been commanded to be of the Muslims. So this is Prophet Muhammad himself speaking here, and according to the verse. When you go to verse 92, and he says, and to recite the Quran, right? So this is part of the commands that God has given him. He didn't say he should recite hadith books. He should recite the Quran, because the Quran in actual sense on its own is the hadith, the best hadith as a matter of fact. Quran chapter 39 verse 23, right? Yeah. So, and to recite the Quran, then he says, so whoever is guided, then he's only guided for himself, right? Just like if you do good, you do it for yourself. You do bad, you do it for yourself. And whoever is misguided, then say, I am only of the warners, right? So this is the duty of the messenger, and this is what he propagated by actually teaching his people so that they will know who God is and how to serve God. So he has to take the first example by actually admitting that he has been commanded to be of the what? Submitters, and to recite the Quran. So whoever is guided, then he is only guided for himself, and whoever is misguided, then say, I am only of the waters. So pay attention to that. Then again, I take you to Quran chapter 6, verse 71, right? In Quran chapter 6, verse 71, that is Suratul An'am, right? Chapter of the livestock. Yeah, thank you very much, Benjamin Sheikh. I appreciate that. Let me see. Uh, yeah, ladies and kindly let me know if there's a sound in the mic, because I think. Yeah, thank you very much, Benjamin Sheikh. I appreciate that. Just a second. Yeah. Okay. So I guess now the sound is somewhat okay, right? Let's see. Uh, Thank you all for those coming, those joining now. Salam to you all. Kindly share so other people can join. Nur Salam. I see Shehun Jamiu Salam. I see Kudisiya Emily Trinity. It says, what is the purpose of wearing a cap as a Muslim? There's nothing wrong about wearing a cap or not wearing a cap. There's nowhere God says you have to wear a cap, right? It's just a style. It's a fashion style that people do, right? For instance, I do as a style, because I feel comfortable wearing it. But there's nothing like a Muslim should wear a cap by force, or nowhere does God say that, right? Reda says, it's very tough. It is very tough being a Muslim in the US. Any advice? I just have to tell you, you have to lay low. Just keep a low profile. Because people have a wrong concept of Islam and being a Muslim. They think the moment you become a Muslim, it means automatically that makes you a terrorist, or that makes you, an ardent opponent, or somebody with a lot of opposing views. That's not the concept, right? So this is why I've taken the mantle to actually help people to understand the actual concept of Islam. Salam, Berivan Oktem, yeah, and salam, brother Hussam. I know he might be watching or something, right? Let me see. Is it? Yeah, salam to brother Hussam as well. So as Reda was saying, right? Sheun Jamil says, what about turban? The turban also is for a style. It is a style, and this turban, you see the Sikhs in India, they wear. You see some Pakistanis, some Indians. They normally wear both men. You know, these are all like a fashion, right? It's just a fashion. It's a style of dressing. Just like in the Western world, people wear coats, right? A suit and tie, and then it's just fashion, right? So it doesn't go against the norms of Islam. No, no, not at all. Hey, salam, salis, Jimmy. Aganka, salam, bro. Aha, yes. So thank you all for coming, uh, and being present. But let's move on with the discussion, right? So I take you to chapter 6, verse 71, right? Chapter 6, verse 71. Let's go to 71. Okay. Yeah, I hope you can see the screen, the verse on the screen. Yeah, in chapter 6, verse 71, what I want you to pay attention is here the messenger is being uttered to say, Kul, anadu'u min dunillahi, ma la yanfa'una wala yadurruna. Say, shall we invoke other than God what does not benefit us nor harm us? Right? Shall we? It's a question. And turn back on our heels after when God has guided us. Like one whom the devils had seduced him on earth, right? Confused, having comrades invite him to the guidance. Come to us. That's the question the messenger is asking. He's been inspired to say, cool. So now again, say, indeed, the guidance of God is the guidance, and we have been commanded to submit to the Lord of the worlds. We have been commanded. So that by, in actual sense, this submission, to submit to the Lord of the worlds, is a command. So when you obey this command, that makes you a submitter, because you have been commanded to submit. So prior to this, I recited a verse, or I read a verse from Quran chapter 27, verse 91, where the prophet says, I have been commanded to be of the submitters. And now he was talking in a single form. But here in chapter 6, verse 71, is a plural statement, meaning the messenger and the believers speaking all together concerning what they have been commanded. So he said, indeed, the guidance of God is the guidance. And we have been commanded. So he didn't say, I have been commanded in this verse. We have been commanded to submit to the Lord of the worlds. So that makes you a submitter. So in Arabic, he says, Wa umirna linuslima lirabbil alameen. That is the down part of this side. Wa umirna linuslima lirabbil alameen. We have been commanded to submit to the Lord of the worlds. That makes you a submitter. That makes you a Muslim, as we keep Romanizing such a word. So like I said, submission is the act of submitting, usually surrendering power to another. The condition of having submitted to control by someone or something else. So in this actual sense, in the context of what I'm discussing now, you are submitting to the control of God. So he's in charge. He created you, so you do his will, not your will, but his will, right? So understand this concept. So now in the same chapter, Quran chapter 6, I take you to verse 125, right? In the same chapter, let's see what the Quran says, right? Yeah, salam, Aziz Sanusi, salam, Sakat Tools. We have let me see if I can put my number here. I say 5846. Shaun, this is my number on the page, right? My correctional officer number. You are asking, but it's not time for calling. But that's the number on the screen. Yes, you can copy the number. Whatever it is you want to ask concerning Islam, correctional officer, that's my number there, right? So you pick up the number, but it's not time for calling yet. So let me just deal with the topic at hand. I'll come back to that. Saeed Adam, salam to you. I see you. Don Nuru, I see you. Salam. Thank you for coming. Musa Seidu, thank you. Kindly share so other people can join. I appreciate your presence. It's helpful, right? Thank you all for coming. Okay, let's go. So I'm going to put a verse in Quran chapter 6, verse 125, right? So in Quran chapter 6, verse 125, it says, "And whomever God intends to guide, he expounds his bosom to the submission," right? And then he says, "And whomever he intends to send astray, he renders his bosom tight and narrow, as if he were escalating into the sky," just like people who go to the astronauts when they go, you know, into the sky. The more you are going, there's gravity, so you have suppression in your lungs and your chest. So God is explaining this analogy here. Thus does God puts filth upon those who do not believe. So somebody will say, why will God do such a thing? Yeah, God controls everything. He has the power to control evil and good. Yes. And he is a supernatural being who controls your affairs, right? Not entirely. He has given you free will, right? A free will is for you to make your own decisions, right? But then he has control over you. He decides when you are born, when you will die, whether you are sick or healthy, whether you are black or white, whether you are, tall, whether you are short, whether you are fat, whether you are slim. He decides all that before you come to the world. So by this, when we say you should submit to God, you submit to the will of God because He wishes what is good for you. He doesn't intend any evil for you unless if He intend for yourself, right? So understanding all this concept make you an obedient servant to Him because you know He's in charge. It's just like you have a boss and you don't want to surrender to the instructions of your boss. You have to be fired because then you are useless. So same goes. God has the power to make all these decisions. Somebody will say, why will God send me astray? Yeah, you just obey His commands and see. Will He send you astray? No. He will send you astray because you are arrogant. Quran chapter 16, verse 104. Those who do not believe in the verses of God, right? Which mean the messages of God, God will not guide them. This is what He says. Quran chapter 16, verse 104. You don't believe what He's telling you, how can He guide you? So that means if you go astray, He's watching you. We can decide to guide you by force. So in that sense, we can say God intends to send you astray. Because if He wanted to guide you, He can push you by force and say, come. Like He will pull you, come, I'm guiding you by force. But then He has given you free will. So it is only by your will He will guide you. You want to be guided, come. Then He tells you the things that you want to know. So by this, you surrender to God, and give that authority to Him to be in charge. So that is the point. So Quran chapter 6 verse 125, and whomever God intends to guide, He expounds his bosom to the submission. That is Islam, right? So if you understand the concept of Islam, it's not a new religion. It's been there with Abraham, Noah, Moses, Ismail, Isaac, Jacob, Jesus, Moses. There's nothing new. All of them were submitting to the will of God. None of them were doing their own will. None, including Jesus. None of them. So anybody who tells you Jesus was even came to do his own will, tell the person to cross-check his own conscience twice, right? Jesus never came to do his own will. He came to do the will of God. So that intent makes you a submitter. So is Moses, was Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. Mention them, name them, all the prophets. They came to do the will of God. So whomever God intends to guide, He expounds his bosom to the submission. And whomever He intends to send astray, He renders his bosom tight and narrow, because such a person will not allow any guidance to enter, right? As if he were escalating into the sky. Thus does God put what? Filth upon those who do not believe. So you don't believe, that's how the filth goes into you. So you cannot comprehend or accept what God is telling you. So the next verse I'm taking you to is Quran chapter 39, verse 22. That is in Surah Zumar, right? Quran chapter 39, verse 22. So in Quran chapter 39, verse 22, this is what we have here. right? He says, so is he one whom God has expounded his bosom to the submission, and he is upon a light from his Lord? It's a question, right? أفمن شرح الله صدره للإسلام فهو على نور من ربه. So God is saying, so is he the human being, is he one whom God has expounded his bosom to the submission, and he is upon a light from his Lord. Therefore, woe to those whose hearts are hardened against the remembrance of God. Those are in clear error. When a person is in a clear error, it tells you their hearts have become tight and narrow. So their hearts are hardened against the remembrance of God. They don't like to hear any message from God. They hate it. They are like, oh, come on, stop telling me these ancient stories. Asatirul Awwalin. These are stories from the past. I don't need it. Come on. Those kind of people. There's nothing you can tell them to convince them. Eh, salam, Baba said, salam. So this is the point, right? So when we say Islam, it's just an Arabic word. However, bringing it into English is the submission. And you all know what submission is. I've already given you the definition several times, right? So when we say you are a submitter, it means you are practicing submission. And to who? To God. That makes you a Muslim. And that's the word, submitter, right? So those are in clear error, those whose hearts are hardened against the remembrance of God. They are always in clear error. The next verse I'm taking you to is in Quran chapter 61, verse 7. And this, I would like to read it into context so that people will get the idea of this verse, right? So Quran chapter 61, that is Surah to Saf. Surah to Saf. Then we go to verse 7. So from verse 7, I might read up to verse 9, and let's see what happens. Let me see. Sorry. Yeah. Quran chapter 6, verse 7. Oh, this is a bit delay on the screen. Yeah. Yeah. So Quran chapter 61, verse 7. Let me go next. Sorry. Yeah. Chapter 61, verse 7. It says, and who is more unjust than one who invents falsehood about God while being invited to the submission, and God does not guide the transgressing people. So in this verse, it says, وَمَنْ أَظْلَمُ مِمَّنِ افْتَرَى عَلَى اللَّهِ الْكَذِبَ وَهُوَ يدعى إلى الإسلام وَاللَّهُ لَا يَهْدِي الْقَوْمَ الظَّالِمِينَ. So God is asking the question, and who is more unjust than one who invents falsehood about God while being invited to the submission, and God does not guide the transgressing people? So who is more unjust? So verse 8, they intend to extinguish the light of God with their mouths, but God will complete his light even if the disbelievers dislike it. Verse 9, he is the one who has sent his messenger with the guidance and the religion of truth in order to manifest it over every religion, even if the polytheists, or we can say idolaters, dislike it, right? So when you take the verses I read into context, starting from verse 7, you can see the emphasis God is placing here. Who is more unjust than one who invents falsehood about God? Because we have people who invent lies, falsehood about God. You understand? Instead of listening to what God is saying, no, they rather listen to what other people's opinion, what those people have to say about God, as if those people are the only ones who the truth belongs to them. And remember, the truth belongs to God when it comes to the matters of faith. It doesn't belong to anyone else. right? Whatever anyone says is their opinion, unless if they are talking from the inspiration of God, and actually it can be proven. It's not like if a person will just come say, "Hey, I'm a man of God," and then they will just say their whims and desires, and then you can say, "Oh, God revealed this to me." Where? How? When? You understand? You have to say things that have to come to pass. That has to come to pass. Things that people will be able to bear witness. That is the truth. So who is more unjust than one who invents falsehood about God while being invited to the submission? That is Islami. Al-Islami meaning the submission to God. And God does not guide the transgressing people. Now, verse 8, they intend, those people who invent falsehood, they intend to extinguish the light of God, because the light of God is meant to give people, light, to give them, illumination, where they can find the path. But what do these other people do? They use their mouth, right, in order to extinguish the light of God. But God will complete his light even if the disbelievers dislike it. Verse 9, he is the one who has sent his messenger with the guidance. If you want to know the guidance, go to Quran chapter 45, verse 11, where God says, this is guidance, right? This is guidance. THIS. This is guidance. So in this 61 verse 9, it says, he is the one who has sent his messenger with the guidance and the religion of truth. You all know the truth, right? The religion which gives you nothing but the truth, in order to manifest it over every religion. Yes, because the truth has to prevail. In every aspect, there's negative and positive. And so is when we have the truth, we should have falsehood as well. So back in academically school, you see your teachers asking you questions, true or false. You have to answer whether it's true or false, right? So even if the polytheists dislike it, this is how the truth has to be propagated, right? Whether they dislike it or not. So the next verse I'll go before we bring matters out. Now, many a times people don't understand that in order to practice Islam, it is not about what you think or what you say. It's about what God says. That is the most important. Forget about what you think or what you assume to be true. It's about what God says. Yeah, Salam Marwan Divaj, I see you. Do you see? It's about what God says. It's not about what you think or what you assume to be true or the way you think it is true. No, it is about how God is telling you what the truth is. Right? Okay, so the next verse I'm taking you to is Quran chapter 49, verse 16. Now, this verse I'm taking you to is very interesting, right? Yeah, let me do this. Chapter 49, verse 16. This takes a bit time to open. I don't know why, but let's see. Let me try again. Chapter 49. Yeah, in Quran chapter 49, verse 16. Now, this verse I'm going to read is very interesting. It's telling the messenger to say, are you teaching God about your religion? Meaning your faith. Are you the one going to teach God about your religion? You know, people have formed religions all over. Like especially when it comes to the modern day Islam, you have people tagging themselves Sunni, you have Shia, you have Ahmadiyya, you have Tijaniya, Qadiriya, Istiqama, you name them, so on and so forth. There are a lot of them. If you ask them which one does the prophet or did the prophet belong to, he belongs to none of them, right? None of them. All of them are claiming to be the truth. This is by their own words, right? So there is something I call personal truth, and you can only find it in the modern day religions. They call it personal truth. So far as you don't agree with their whims and desires, they call you an enemy, or they say you are damned for hell, as if hell is for their fathers and mothers, right? Or paradise belongs to your family. I wonder if the human being possesses paradise. then we have to pay the gate fee to enter. So Quran chapter 49 verse 16 say, are you teaching God about your religion while he knows whatever is in the heavens and whatever is on earth, and God is aware of all things? So you people, are you the ones going to teach people God about your religion? Right? Are you the ones? What is it that you have that God is not aware of? Or God is not the one who actually legislated for you such things, but then you concocted your own rules and regulations and then attributing them to God. So that becomes falsehood. So you go to verse 17. God is telling the messenger, they oblige you that they have submitted. Say, your submission does not oblige me. Rather, God has obliged what? You, in order to guide you to the faith if you should be truthful. So do you see the essence here? Rather, God has obliged you, right, in order to guide you to the faith if you should be truthful. You see? Aha. So God is rather the one doing in your favor. So they are thinking that they are doing the messenger a favor when he comes to invite them to God. They think, oh, let's go and submit. Let's go and submit to actually add the numbers to just oblige. No. You are not doing that for the messenger. So it is God actually doing you the favor. Say, your submission does not oblige me. That's what the messenger was asked to tell them. Rather, God has obliged you in order to guide you to the faith if you should be truthful. This is what people should understand about Islam, right? Okay. So that is Quran chapter 49, verse 16 to verse 17. Now, what people don't understand when we say submitting to God is about following the instructions or the commands of God, right? So when God says in Quran chapter 2, verse 208, O you who believe, enter into submission entirely and do not follow the steps of the devil. Indeed, he's a clear enemy to you. When you put that same contrast of that verse into the Bible, you go to James chapter 4, verse 7. It says, submit therefore to God, resist the devil, and he will flee from you. So when you submit to God, you reject the devil. And that makes you a submitter to God, because now you are willing to do the will of God. That is what submission is about. Right? So when you go to Quran chapter 98, verse 5, right? Quran chapter 98, verse 5. And this is what I want people to understand how submitting to God works like. Right? So I put the verse on the screen. Surah Al-Bayyinah, chapter 98, verse 5. Oh, yeah. This is... yeah, let me see. I don't like the way this thing is taking long to open. Okay. Quran chapter 98, verse 5, Surah Al-Ma'idah. Let's hope this opens on time. I don't like the way it's taking time. This will slow the process. Okay, I try one more time. Chapter 98. Yeah. Okay, I'll just read it out because it's taking time to open. In Quran chapter 98, verse 5, and they were not commanded except to worship God, sincerely devoting to him the true religion, or the orthodoxly, right? Orthodoxly meaning accepted by God, what the way it is accepted by God. That is how God asks you to submit to him. Yeah, 98 verse 5. Okay, so now it's on the screen, right? It says, وَمَا أُمِرُوا إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ مُخْلِصِينَ لَهُ الدِّينَ هُنَفَاءَ وَيُقِيمُوا الصَّلَاةَ وَيُؤْتُوا الزَّكَاةَ وَذَلِكَ دِينُ الْقَيِّمَةِ. And they were not commanded except to worship God, sincerely devoting to Him the true religion, or we can say the Orthodox religion, establishing the litany, that is the salat. Now, for people who don't have the idea of salat, when we say salat, we are talking about the litany. If you go to Quran chapter 20, verse 14, where God told Musa, He says, Innani anallah la ilaha illa ana, fa'budini wa akimi salat li zikri. Right? Where He says, Indeed, I am God, there is no God except me. So worship me and establish the salat for my remembrance. So when we say litany, we are talking about salat is a ritual established by believers to commemorate God. It represents a communal response through activity reflecting praises, reciting verses, thanksgiving, supplication, repentance, and obeisance. Right? In a simple form, people can say prayer. Yes, it can be assigned as prayer because when you go to Quran chapter 3, verse 38 to 39, we see Prophet Zechariah actually praying to God. Right? In that form, salat is also termed as prayer. Right? But in actual sense, to break it down, it's a litany because it is a ritual established by believers to commemorate God. Somebody will say, "Why are you saying ritual?" Yes, because it's a repeated thing. It's a prescribed procedure for a religious ceremony. It's a religious ceremony, right? Because somebody who is not religiously inclined will not be practicing salat. No, you are not interested. Remember, salat is for believers. Quran chapter 4, verse 103. Inna salata kanat ala al-mu'minina kitaban mawquta. Salat is for believers. And as well, if you go to Quran chapter 14, verse 31, the believers have been exhorted to establish salat. So when we say salat, it's a ritual established by believers to commemorate God. It represents a communal response through activity reflecting praises, reciting verses, thanksgiving, supplication, repentance, and obeisance. The obeisance can be in the act of bowing down, prostration, showing your submission to God. Right? Then that actually gives you the concept of, and they were not commanded except to worship God, sincerely devoting to Him the Orthodox religion, or we can say the true religion, establishing the salat. So we've seen what salat is. And giving the zakat, that is charity. Now, how do we understand this form of charity, zakat? The Arabic word zakat here literally is meaning is signifying vindication or purification, right? But zakat is an act of giving to the poor and the needy for the sake of God. You're doing it for the sake of, just like your salat, you do it for the sake of God. Just like He instructed Musa alayhi salam, Quran chapter 20, verse 14, and established the salat for my remembrance. You're doing it for the sake of God, right? So zakat as well, you are doing it for the sake of God. So zakat is an act of giving to the poor and the needy for the sake of God in order to attain purity. That is the objective, zakat. A foundation created to promote the public good or to provide help to the needy. That is zakat. You want to understand what zakat is? Go to chapter 92 of the Quran. Start reading from verse 18 to verse 20. You understand the concept of zakat, right? It is a money you set aside to give to the poor and the needy in order to purify your own soul. You're doing it for the sake of God. You are not doing it so that somebody will pay you back. No. If you do it because you want people to pay you back, then we don't consider it as zakat. It's gone. You're just doing it for the, sake of something else. So that is zakat. So these things, they only come after you have sincerely devoted your faith to God. That is when these things will be valuable to God. Because remember, salat is for the sake of God. Zakat is for the sake of God. Now, how can you be doing salat and zakat if you don't actually know God? Because God says, and they were not commanded except to worship God. Now, how can you worship something or someone you don't know? You need to know God. So Quran chapter 47 verse 19, God is telling the prophet, and know that there is no God but Him. There's only one God. You have to know. It's not only about believing that there's only one God. No. You have to know there's only one God. Sincerely devoting to Him, the Orthodox religion, or we can say the true religion. So it's not about just saying, opening your mouth to say, oh, I'm a Muslim. No, you submit to God and then what? You are not going to be devoted to him. You have to devote yourself. If you fail this first criteria, the act of devotion, if you fail that one, your salat and the zakat are useless. Remember, salat is for the sake of God. Zakat is for the sake of God. So if you fail the act of devoting to God, your work is useless. It's just like a worker who goes to a work but doesn't want to submit or devote himself to the boss. He doesn't devote himself to serving the boss at work. So whether you are punctual at work, so far as your act of working is not from the heart, whatever you are doing at the workplace is useless because the boss can fire you at the end of the day. He doesn't like your work. So the modern day Muslims have limited Islam to all about prayer, and then doing the act of charity work for everybody to see. That's what they do. And the Muslims of today, you will not see any act of being devout, worshippers, unless when it's the time of Ramadan, the month of Ramadan. You all over, they act like they are the most God-fearing people ever. That is hypocrisy, right? Because act of submission is between you and God. It's not between you and people. You only give charity because of God, not because of the person. No, who cares? Because of the person, no. You can just see somebody poor, you just leave them and go. But you're doing it for the sake of God. Because God has been, charitable to you. He has given you wealth, maybe by easy means, right? He just gave you opportunity. Me sitting here, I've been in instances whereby out of nowhere, I'll have people giving me extending hands to help in my activities. I've had people who actually recommended me to a workplace and I got a job. I've had people without me asking for their help, they give me a helping hand. And this is all by God's doing. And these people also do it for the sake of God, not because I'm handsome or ugly, not because I know, left and right. No, you understand? So you have to have the act of devotion between you and God in order to be charitable, or to establish a bond, a union between you and God by actually establishing the salat. Right? So at the end of the verse, then it says, and that is the valuable religion. That is what God will value. That is the upright religion. You understand? So this is what qualifies you to be a submitter to God. Do you surrender to God? What makes you think you surrender to God? Is it just because you think your name is an Arabic name? Look, if your name is Shu'aib, if your name is you call any name, Nuruddin, your name it doesn't signify you as a Muslim. That is an Arabian name. And some of the names are derived from the Quran. For instance, my name Shu'aib is derived from the Quran. Chapter 11, verse 87, that's Prophet Shu'aib, right? My name is derived from the Quran. But that doesn't necessarily mean you have a name like that, so you are a Muslim. No, we have a lot of people who have, such names, but they are not Muslims. They will do whatever God doesn't like, and they will do it with pleasure, right? So that doesn't make you a submitter. If you think your name is Richard, or your name is Anderson, so that means you are not a Muslim. No, that's a wrong concept to think. You can have the name Joshua, but you can be a Muslim to God. You can submit to God with the name Joshua. You can have the name sister. We have Sister Alma Johnson, but you are a Muslim. It doesn't necessarily mean because you became a Muslim you change. No. No. Who gave you that concept? Who gave you those understandings? Where is it from? From God? Then bring your proofs. Let's see where God says when you become a Muslim to God, you submit to God, then you have to change your name. So what name did Moses had before he became a submitter to God? Did he change his name? And what name did Muhammad had or has before he became a Muslim? Did he change his name? What about Abraham? So what is the significance of changing your name? So far as it's not a bad name, keep it. Whether you are called Zlatan Ibrahimovic, keep it. Nothing is wrong. As in the past, Muhammad Ali, Cassius Clay, he had the name Cassius Clay, he changed it. And he named himself Muhammad Ali, thinking that the name will make him more Muslim than he was. May peace be upon him. Dead and gone. But that is the reality. Your name has no bearing or determine who you are in Islam. Submission is between you and God. It has nothing to do with your name. Right? So don't be fooled. Right? You can only get the truth from God. Quran chapter 10, verse 82. فَمَاذَا بَعْدَ الْحَقِّ إِلَّا دَلَالٍ. Sorry, 32. Quran chapter 10, verse 32. And what is there after the truth, if not error? So everything else aside the word of God is full of errors. Nothing else. People will just, invent rules and regulations to burden you, to make your life difficult. Right? Yeah, salam, Adam Osman. Salam to all of you joining. Salam, Imam Taj. Do you get the idea? So if your name is, John, keep the John. There's nothing wrong with being John and being a Muslim. Yeah, because you are not an Arab. Stop changing your names to Arabic names. It has nothing to do with Islam. Please, don't be fooled. Right? Abraham was neither an Arab or a Jew or whatever you call yourselves. He is not. Right? Moses was not an Arab. How do you call it? Name them. Ishmael. They were not Arabs. Stop changing your names to an Arabian name. I have nothing against Arabians, but don't be fooled thinking that Islam belongs to the Arabs. Islam belongs to God. Quran chapter 3, verse 19. Inna dina indallahi Islam. Islam belongs to God, not to the Arabs, neither to the children of Israel, or neither to Americans or Europeans or Africans. It belongs to God. So he has to give you legislation to abide by. Quran chapter 42, verse 13 to 14. He has advised the same religion he gave to Abraham, Noah, Moses, Jesus, and Muhammad. Nothing different. Muhammad had the name Muhammad before he became a prophet. He didn't change. Moses had the name Musa before he became a prophet. He didn't change. Abraham had his same name. So I don't get why people, you keep fooling yourself thinking your name will make you holier or what. Somebody will say, oh, Baba Shoaib, but your name is Arabic. Yeah, my father gave me. I don't see anything wrong with the name. That's why I'm keeping it. Had I not found the name in the Quran, I would have changed it long time ago. Because I'm based in the Western world, to change your name is allowed. I would have changed it long time ago. However, my name, even though it's derived from the Quran, that's why I kept it. Had I not seen my name in the Quran and I found out it's just an Arabian name, I would have wiped it out. Because I'm not an Arabian. That is the point. Why do you keep making other people's heritage proud and then you forget yourselves? And this is why, Baba Shoaib, most of the time you see me wearing African clothes. Like I dress ordinary. Like just because I know about Islam doesn't mean I should appear like Mufti Menk or, to like Sheikh like or an Arab. No, come on. You don't necessarily have to appear like that to be presentable for your faith. Right? So let's eradicate those kind of nonsensical thoughts or ideologies in our heads. That is mental slavery. And that is why, especially Africans, you are suffering, especially. Because you think you have to be like a Jew or you have to be like an Arab to be holy. Wow. Seriously? Taking somebody's culture upon your head or heritage upon your head, forgetting your own roots and sources. Oh, come on. Nul says that Guru Menk. Yeah, thank you, Baba Siru. Thank you, Kudisi. I appreciate that. Thank you. Dana says, my name is Dana. I'm a Muslim. Alhamdulillah, submit salam. Yeah, thank you very much. Salam to you. Salam Nikoti Jani. Okay, so let's move forward. We have done 1 hour so far, but let's almost bringing it to a halt. Then we can allow the question and answers. So when you go to Quran chapter 35, verse 29, let me see if the screen will allow me to put this particular verse. Chapter 35, verse 29. It's just to summarize the concept of establishing the salat and giving charity, right? Yes, establishing salat and giving charity is loading. It should open up. Let's see, why is this Slow. Why is that? Yeah. Okay. I don't know that's why this page takes long to open, but it seems something is not right. Yeah, something is not right. Anyways, so Quran chapter 35, verse 29, indeed, those who recite the book of God and establish the salat, which is the litany, from and disperse from what we have provided them secretly and publicly, are expecting a business which will never perish, right? You are expecting a business. We all know business you do to get profits, right? So if you're actually reciting the verses of God to establish the litany, that is the salat, and also disperse from what God has provided you, that is secretly or publicly, you are expecting a business which will never perish. Why? So that he, God, may pay them their rewards. He will pay you your rewards and augment them from his favor. Indeed, he is forgiving and grateful. So you are serving a grateful God. Your God is not ungrateful. Yeah? So bear that in mind. You are serving a grateful God, not an ungrateful God. Yeah. Yeah, this page refused to open. So yeah, now I see why. Yeah. Refuses to open. Okay, anyways. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, so the concept of actually surrendering to God, devoting, sincerely devoting your faith to God, you submit to God, you do as He has commanded you. Then after that, you establish the salat and then the zakat. Now, the notion of the salat and the zakat is to wipe out your bad deeds. To err is human. To sin is a human act. So when you are constantly in connection with God, you establish this salat, you establish the zakat, like you give the zakat charity. Now, mind you, when people tell you, come and give God money, you are not giving God the money. What God wants you to do is to help the poor and the needy next to you, to help the wayfarer, to help the orphans, to help the homeless people, the needy people. Help them and then get your reward from God. This is all what God asks you to do. It's not like you're giving God money. When God says, وَأَقْرِضِ اللَّهُ قَرْضًا حَسَنًا, loan God a good loan. That loan, He told you what to do with the loan. So let's say, Baba Shuaib, I have money. Then God says, take 50 euro, give it to a poor person next to you, or give it to the homeless person next to you. Then I just give. Now, what God will do is He will double my reward, both in the world and hereafter. In the world, the favor is ahead coming. This favor I just did to a poor person because I'm superior to him. Somebody who is also above me will also do me a similar favor, but in a different instance that I never asked for. Even if you go to a workplace and you think you are trying to find a job, and then you just go, somebody who is just there, he saw your face, whether you are ugly or pretty or handsome, well, he just see you and he's like, all of a sudden he likes you. It's like, okay, I'll give you the job. But in your head, you are thinking, hey, I'm just lucky. I don't think I deserve this. Or somebody told you, hey, a lot of people went to the place, they never got a job. But you just went out of nowhere, you got a job. Reason is because God wants to do you a favor. You are going to be earning a salary. Maybe the salary is a huge sum of money. That money is supposed to change people's lives, maybe in another third world country. And that is why God created that opportunity for you. So you become the source of what? Comfort for other people. When you are rich, the money is not for you alone. When you are knowledgeable, the knowledge is not for you alone. When you are healthy, the health is not for you alone. Yes, you are healthy so that you can help other people around you. You are rich so that you help other people around you. You are knowledgeable so that other people can benefit from your knowledge. This is how it works. You are strong so that you can protect people around you. You are not only strong to protect yourself, you are all not only knowledgeable to be possessing the knowledge to yourself. You are not only rich to be keeping all the riches to yourself. And this is one lesson about life. People don't understand how wisdom works. That is why wisdom is better than silver and gold. You can be the richest person in the world. When you lack wisdom, your money is worthless. I'm serious. Imagine keeping millions in your bank account. You come and sit with your friends. They are starving. They are hungry. They are helpless. You forgot you die. So when you die, who do you think is going to take the money? Maybe the bank will just confiscate your money, and then that's useless. What is the benefit of thinking you possess wealth, you possess so much knowledge, you possess so much and you don't share it with people? No, God gave you so that other people can benefit from you. We are based in the Western world. Many a times our family members call us on the phone, send us text message. Hey, I need help. Yes, it's because we are capable of helping. That's why they are calling you. You think if your shirt is torn, you look homeless, a family member will text you and say, hey, Baba Tribe, I need help. What? Do you understand? So this is part of the life lessons we face. And you're going as long as you're going. And that is why when you check through the wisdom God has given us, Quran chapter 17, start reading from verse 22 downwards. God is telling you, even if a family member asks you for money and you know you cannot give them, you have to say a nice speech to them. A nice statement. Don't just offend them with your statement like, oh, you guys, you just know nothing. You just keep asking for money. You know nothing. You yourself, have you finished asking God for favors? You the one criticizing other people that they just only keep asking you money. Have you finished asking God for favors? So what if God is going to say, hey, Baba Tribe, it's okay. You keep asking for this too much. Do you understand? Just tell them, oh, this is not a good time. I can't help at this time. Fine, that's it. If they want to curse you or insult you, that's up to them. You are doing it for the sake of God. Right? This is what I tell my family members. I help them not because they are my family. I help you for the sake of God. Had God told me not to help my family, I wouldn't be wasting my time. We are based in the Western world. You see how a son and a mother, the moment he turns 18 years, he's on his own. He doesn't care about his parent. Right? But we, understanding God, we teach our kids this ethics and morals so that they will know that to be charitable is not only about because it's your father or mother. You are being charitable because of God, because you believe in the hereafter, that you'll be paid for any good deeds you do. You'll be paid. Quran chapter 6 verse 160. Check it for yourself. You do good, you get it 10 times the reward. You do bad, you get equal to it. You'll be paid for the reward. It's just like a salary. We work in the Western world. Your boss will write the type of amount of salary you are getting per hour. He displays it to you. You will see it. When you work at the end of the month, you see it in your account. When you see a shortage, you go and question, hey, why is it that I work this day, but you are giving me less? You see. Yeah, thank you very much, Abu Thomas. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, Sanyang Oscar, salam. Diaba Lion, I see you, salam. Quran Universal says Islamic governments are not Islamic. Yes, they are not. It's just a name tag. They just call it Islamic government, but they are not Islamic. Like, you know, I can say, for instance, people, countries, the Arabian countries you see out there, right? People just tag them, oh, Islamic countries. They are not Islamic. What is Islamic about those countries? Tell me. Which of them practices the Quran to the core? None of them. They all mix humans hearsays, right? That's not Islamic. Mud Ashari Abdul Rahim, salam, you're welcome. So ladies and gentlemen, I've highlighted some questions earlier. Let me see. That I've already answered. Okay, somebody was writing about the hadith. It says, Sunan Ibn Majah, 2860, Sahih al-Bukhari, 693, Casual Racism. Yeah. Those books, they are devilish books, right? The hadith books, beware of such books. Now, for people who don't know about the real Islam, thinking that those things you see in the hadith books, the hadith books are not part of Islam. I'm telling you emphatically, and I can defend this claim. Those hadith books, as you are seeing, are not part of Islam. There is nowhere God ever gave us in a book called Sahih Bukhari or Sahih Muslim or Jamia Tirmizi or Abu Dawood or Sunan Ibn Nisa or and so on. No. They are not part of Islam. Please. They are just sayings of people being attributed to the Prophet or attributed to the religion. Remember, they are allegedly being attributed to Islam or the Prophet. The Prophet has no idea who is called Imam Bukhari. He never met him. They were not even based in the same century. He never even prophesied about such an entity. But what you see today, we have some confused people. People think they call them scholars. And these people have actually concocted such things into Islam, thinking that this has to be practiced before you are a Muslim, which is a wrong concept, right? So beware of such doctrines. They just use that to indoctrinate people. And that is why you see Africans want to dress like Arabs, right? Arabs have their own culture. Culture is different from, religion. You should know your heritage. Africans have their heritage. Arab has their own. Europeans have their own. Everybody. Do you understand? Do you understand? So what you need to understand is they are different. Nothing the same. Those things you are taking from the other books have nothing to do with Islam. So pay attention and bear that in mind, right? Nothing of that sort. Okay. Kodisia says what? She says, on the other screen, there is a faint picture, looks like an old man. What is that? Where is that? You mean this screen? This one? Kodisia, you mean this screen on my right? Yeah, it's just a screen. It's a blurry. It's just the light reflecting. It's a reflection of the light to the screen because it's a black screen. So it's reflecting, and that's why you see it like that. There's nothing there. So, ladies and gentlemen, just let your questions troop in before we go. Kudisia says she can see faint old man. It's a black screen. It's just an illusion. The optical view is an illusion. It's not an old man. It's just your imagination. Yeah, it's just an imagination. When you watch from the screen, you can think, oh, That happens normally when people go to a dark room, right? Like when you have been in the light for so long and you go to a dark room, sometimes your eyes can be creating this figment of imaginations on the, around you, just like you are in the shower, you close your eyes, you're showering, you just open your eyes can create some things. So it's just a reflection, nothing there. Okay, so just let your questions come in. Okay, somebody says, can you explain chapter 34 verse 46? This page I'm trying to open has been disturbing me. I just hope it comes clear again. Let's see. Chapter 34 verse 46, right? Okay, let's see. Let me put it on the screen and let's see if that is what you are asking for. In Quran chapter 34 verse 46, it says, say, I only admonish you of one thing, that stand for God in pairs and individually, and then ponder. There is no madness in your friend. He is only a warner to you before a severe punishment. Is that the verse you're talking about? Harley Free Riders. Is that the verse you're talking about? Let me maximize it a bit. Is that the verse? Okay, says yes. Okay. Say, I only admonish you of one thing, right? That stand for God, meaning represent for God in pairs or individually. So you can understand for God as a single person, or you can do it in a multiple instance, like with other people, like standing for God, representing God, right? Then he says, and then ponder, to reflect. Then he says, there is no madness in your friend. Now is God talking. The messenger's statement ends at this side, right? I'm going to show you. The messenger's statement started from here and ended here. This is where it ended, just where I highlighted. That's where the messenger's statement end. Then now God takes over with the statement by saying, there is no madness in your friend. He is only a warner to you people. That is in plural form, lakum, before a severe punishment. Right? There is no madness in your friend. So don't think he's mad or crazy. He is telling you what to do in the aspect of God. Right? So that is the verse. It's just a simple and clear verse. Somebody says, how do you know what to do during prayer without hadith? You should check my YouTube channel. However, I'll be doing the new video on that, right? The Quran has all the details, what you need to do. You just need to know what Salat is about. Salat is about the remembrance of God. That is the number one, right? But again, God says, "Ista'inu bis-sabr was-salat." You can seek help through your salat, your patience and your salat. So salat, you can seek help as well, right? Uh yeah, salam alaikum, Shazma. I see you. Salam, Sadiq Ali, Sharian, salam. Uh, Abu Thomas says, well done, brother. The studio look good. May the God continue to bless you with the good work. I appreciate that. Thank you for the support. Uh, let me see. What did I miss? What did I miss? Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's why he says he admonished of one thing, one thing, one thing. So that's where he was asked to admonish one thing. That is why he says wahidatin, wahidatin, like one thing, right? So that is the admonishment there. We have Layola says what? 49, chapter 4, verse 59. Who is the authority in that verse? In that verse, it's not about authority, it's about those in command, right? Not, words have different implications and okay, let me do this. Quran chapter 4, verse 59, right? Yeah, let's hope this opens on time, because I think the I hate the lecture on the screen. It takes time. Yeah, Quran chapter 4, verse 59. This is a bit sluggish. I don't like the way it's taking time, all the time in the world, right? Yeah, so this is the verse. All you who have believed, obey God and obey the messenger, as well as those in authority, meaning command, those who in command, those in charge among you. And if you dispute with each other about anything, then refer it to God and the messenger if you should believe in God and the last day. That is better and the best in interpretation. Now, what happens is when we say ulul amr, this amr is different from saying those of, let's say, sultan, those of power or authority. That's another form of authority. That is sultan or power. But this command meaning, if the messenger has put people in charge of command, and it's explained in verse 83. I'm answering Liola's question. Let me put a question there. This one, those in the authority, she said, who is the authority in that verse? So those in authority among you, so those of command among you, right? Now we go to verse 83, you see those whom God, who God is talking about. Verse 83. In the same chapter, oh, this thing is slow. Yeah, so this is the verse. Now, when there comes to them an issue, so you see the amr here. In Arabic, you have it here, amrun, here. And when they come to, iza jahum amrun min al-amni, and when there comes to them an issue about security, amni, or fear, they broadcast it. And had they referred it to the messenger and to those in authority among them. Now, number one, you don't tell me that at the time of the messenger, we are talking about scholars. No, it's not about scholars. The messenger is there. So what do you mean about scholars? No, it's about the issue of safety, security, right? And when there comes to them an issue about what? Security or fear. So it tells you about the people who protect the group of believers. They are those of authority. Just like modern day we have policemen. They are those of in charge or of command or authority to protect the nation. So when there comes to them an issue about security, so in this modern day, if the country I'm based in, Finland, is talking about security or fear, who are they going to call? They are going to call the military personnel, right? The police and the military is going to be in charge of the issue of security. They broadcast it, and had they referred it to the messenger and to those in authority among them, those who can deduce it will have done what? Among them will have found it out. And if not for the favor of God upon you and his mercy, you will have followed the devil except a few. So then when you continue the context, right? So fight in the way of God, you will not be charged except for your soul. So rouse the believers, perhaps God will restrain the might of those who have disbelieved. For God is stronger in might and stronger in exemplary punishment. So when you continue chapter 4, verse 83 to 84, it gives you the context. Do you understand? So the context is telling you those of command, those in charge, those of authority in the sense of command. So in this modern day, we can take the notion of police or military personnel who are in charge of security around us. So when there's issue of security or fear, they are the first we should ask. It doesn't have to do with ulama or scholars. No, no. And that is why when you go back to the verse, chapter 4, verse 59, God says, if you dispute about anything that is the matters of the deen, then we refer you to God and his messenger. But when you come to chapter 4, verse 83, it is in the issue of security that we have to refer to the messenger and to those of authority, that is those of command. That's it. So those of command has nothing to do with scholars. Had they been scholars, God would have said, wa ulama'u or ulama minkum. God didn't say ulama. In the Quran, the word ulama has been mentioned about 2 times. For instance, if you go chapter 35, verse 28, the ulama being mentioned are those who possess knowledge concerning the creations of God. the universe and whatever God has created among concerning our colors, which we can visit for the scientists of the modern day, right? So Roman says, do you think the Sunni Salat is a remnant of how the Prophet did the Salat? No, the Sunni Salat is not. Look, the word you even mentioned is a Sunni Salat. Sunnis got their Salat from the Hadith books. They joined jumbles of Hadith books together to the Quran. It's not what the Prophet did. Mumade Pedro says, Baba Shoaib, how can you perform the ablution while wearing jeans? How do we wipe our legs? If you are wearing jeans, you just need to scroll the jeans up. That's it. You scroll it up to your knees. Just scroll it, right? You scroll it up to your knees side. Then you wipe your legs. That's it. Wearing jeans doesn't mean you can't do anything again. No, you can do that. And there's nothing wrong. Yeah, salam, days. Abubakar Muhammad Tijani, salam to you. Bari Bari, salam. Daybreak says what? He says, do you do Juma online? What is your advice regarding going to the mosque? If you take Quran chapter 9, verse 107 to 109, it is not any mosque you have to go. Any mosque, let me put the verse on the screen so that you know what I'm talking about. Quran chapter 9, verse 107. I hope it opens on time because this today the page is going slow. I don't know why. So Quran chapter 9, verse 107. And we check up to 108, right? 109, sorry. Here is the verse. And there are those who have taken a mosque for wrongdoing. Number one, we have people who use their mosque for wrongdoing. Number two, for disbelief. Number three, division among the believers. So any mosque which does the wrongdoing, disbelief, and division among believers, and as an observation post, you can see four options here. Here, four. For those who wage war against God and his messenger before. Then he says what? And they will swear, we only intend the best, but God testifies that they are liars. Verse 108, do not stand therein ever. This is the command of God. Do not stand therein ever. A mosque established on piousness from the first day is more suitable to stand therein, wherein are men who love to purify themselves, and God loves those who purify. Verse 109, so is one who has established his building on piousness for God and his approval better, or one who has established his building on an edge of a collapsing cliff? Then it collapsed with him into the fire of hell. That is the question. And God does not guide the transgressing people. So by this daybreak, this answer I'm giving you here, in order to go to a mosque, it has to be a mosque established on piousness from day one, which has to do for dedicated to God alone. There's nothing like division. If you are going to a mosque which says Sunni mosque, which says Tijaniya mosque, which says Shia mosque, please avoid it. That mosque is for disbelief, kufur. Whatever they are going to do is against God. For instance, Quran chapter 72 verse 18, it says, وَأَنَّ الْمَسَاجِدَ لِلَّهِ فَلَا تَدْعُوا مَعَ اللَّهِ أَحَدًا, and that the mosques are for God, so do not invoke anyone along with God. But what do you see in the Shia mosque? What do you see in the Sunni mosque? What do you see in the mosque which are not belonging to the believers who are sincerely devoted to God alone? What do you see happening? They either worship the prophet, commemorating the prophet, devoting themselves to a prophet. You understand? So this is the idol worship. And again, we have division, sectarianism. They have sectarians in the mosque. That's another problem. Then we have wrongdoing. Whatever they do in that mosque is wrong. They are full of wrongdoings. There are nothing good. And as an observation post, you go to a mosque, you go to a masjid, you are going to do your prayer, you see somebody just sitting there watching you. After you finish, hey, here we don't pray like this. Why did you come praying like this? No, You have to do as the sunnah of the Prophet. Sunnah. We don't need people like you. So you have to avoid such a place. So that is the place God says, do not stand there in ever. So he says, do you do Jummah online? There's nothing called Salatul Jummah in the Quran. No such thing as Salatul Jummah in the Quran. I don't do what God hasn't commanded me. I only do what I found God instructing. I don't see it, I don't do it. Simple. Bilal Jibril says, please, have forgotten the number, but it's in chapter 2. Can you explain it? Allazina atainahumul kitaba yatlunahu haqqa tilawatihi. Ulaika yu'minuna bihi. Quran chapter 2 verse 121. That is Surah Al-Baqarah. Yes, Quran chapter 2 verse 121. So that is the verse on the screen. Allazina atainahumul kitaba yatlunahu haqqa tilawatihi ulaika yu'minuna bihi wa man yakfuru bihi fa ulaika humul khasirun. Those to whom we have given the book, which they recite its true recitation, those who will believe in it. And whoever disbelieves in it, then they are those who are the losers. Right? Then we have the next question. Romans says, by remnants, I meant still containing some of the features, not exactly what the prophet did. Yes, I agree with you. The act of standing is part of the salat. Quran chapter 2, verse 238. Act of standing is part of salat. Act of bowing down, you can do bowing down, but it's not a necessity. Like bowing down, ruku'u. You can use it, but it's not a necessity. However, it is recommended from Quran chapter 22, verse 77. Ya ayyuhallazina amanu araka'un wasjudu abdu rabbakum. Right? Araka'un. So ruku'i can be done, yes. And then the act of sujud, right? To fall down and sujud. Kharru sujjadan. Quran chapter 19, verse 58. Or Quran chapter 7, verse 107 to 109. Yes, sujud is there. But the act of going up and down, 2 rakat, 4 rakats, no. So when you say remnant, I don't want you to actually associate it to the Sunnis. No. Look, Salat didn't start with the Sunnis. Remember, the children of Israel were already establishing Salat. If you go to the book of Nehemiah, take the Bible, go to Nehemiah chapter 8 and go to verse 4 to verse 6, right? The act of Salat is there. You see the same posture, standing, going down, bowing down to prostration. I have a video on it on my YouTube channel. Go to the Salat playlist. You will see confirmation of the Salat, right? Confirmation of the Salat. It has been done in the past, right? Before even Prophet Muhammad came. So it's not a new concept. But there's no such thing as getting up, going down 3 times, 4 times. No. Right? We are not here to do exercise. If we wear a tight jeans or trousers, that isn't possible to push it up. What to do then? Oh, come on, Mumadi Pedro. Are you going to put your tight jeans and your tight trousers over I've actually have an appointment with God? So why tight jeans? Okay, if you have tight jeans, are you telling me you don't even be able to go and pee? It is just ablution. You have to wash, ghusl for salat. So find the ways to do that. That's simple. It's the jeans you are wearing. Are you going to give credence to your jeans, preference to your jeans over an appointment with God? Because if right now a dirty water touches your jeans, you change it, right? Right? So if you're somewhere, are you telling me you cannot roll that jeans up, regardless of it being tight? Then why burden yourself by wearing a tight jeans to stress yourself up? Make your life easy. That's it. Days 33 says, have you ever considered gathering all the times Allah says kul in the Quran and compiling them? I feel like if there is any compilation of messengers saying, those will be it. We have about 323 commands of kul. It's about 323. I stand to be corrected. I do have a file, but not with me right now. I have a file where the messenger has been commanded over about 323 times to say the cool in the Quran, right? So those are the sayings of the messenger where he has been instructed. Yeah, salam, Abdullah Abir. Yeah, salam. Thank you, Bilal Jibri. Thank you. Muhammad Salifu says, I read an English translation of the Quran which says believers should send blessings to the Prophet. How do you explain that in relation to saying Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam to the name of the Prophet? The translation you have been reading, they are lying to you. Anytime you are reading a translation, check the source of translation. Check who is the translator. Check his background, whether he's a Sunni, Shia, Tijaniya, whoever it may be. If he's a sectarian, he is being influenced by sectarian views. If he's not a sectarian, then he will rely on the Quran to do justice to the translation, right? So there's no such thing as where the Quran will say when you hear the name of the Prophet, you have to say Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. It doesn't exist in the Quran. Nowhere. Unless if people will interpolate words, will misconstrue with the words of God and put their own new meanings into the words of God. Remember, Quran chapter 10 verse 82, God says, وَيُحِقُّ اللَّهُ الْحَقَّ بِكَلِمَاتِهِ وَلَوْ كَرِهَ الْمُجْرِمُونَ. God will enforce the truth with his words, even if the disbelievers dislike it, or even if they don't like it. Or you say the criminals, even if they don't like it. So it is God you have to look up to with his words to tell you the truth. Forget about translations. Try to know the meaning of words. The word salat doesn't mean sending blessings. You sending blessings on the Prophet to do what? Somebody God has already approved. You are sending blessings to do what for the Prophet? Somebody who is already in a high status, you send blessings for what? The Prophet doesn't need your blessings. God has already blessed him, right? So explaining that, I have a video on my YouTube channel. Go to my Salat series. If you go to Salat series, you see the conjugation of the word Salat. It's explained there, right? Yeah. So the next question, it says, can you clarify what the Quran suggests in regards to the books before it? Do we follow books before the Quran or not? No, we don't follow any book before the Quran. What we do is we believe in books before the Quran, but believing is different from following. You are only commanded to follow the Quran. That is why when we say we follow the Quran alone, people are confused. You can believe in previous books. I believe. For instance, Baba Shwaib, if I tell you my father owns an aeroplane, you say you believe. Okay, no problem. You believe. So what? Now what? Okay, I believe. Yeah. But does that mean you are going to follow me concerning that? No. The command we have in the Quran is Quran chapter 7, verse 3. Ittabi'u ma unzila ilaykum min rabbikum. So you should follow what has been revealed to you from your Lord. وَلَا تَتَّبِعُوا مِن دُونِهِ أَوْلِيَاءَ. Do not follow any allies besides God. That is why we say we follow the Quran alone. You follow the Quran, don't follow any other allies, because the other allies are inviting you, come and follow some garbage books. Do you understand? So somebody will now say, oh, can I believe in the Bible? Yes, if you have some things that Quran confirm, believe it. Anything, whether it's from Krishna, whether it's from Buddhism or any source. So far as they claim it's a book, and then they have something there confirmed by the Quran. Remember, the Quran is here to do a confirmation of what was before it. So whatever is before it, if the Quran confirms it, we agree. If you are telling me something that Quran doesn't confirm, I don't have time to follow your book. Because if I have to follow your book, I will only follow what the Quran confirms. And in actual sense, what am I following? The Quran. So when we say we follow the Quran alone, it doesn't mean we believe in the Quran alone. Go to Quran chapter 2 and read verse 2 up to verse 5. You have to believe in what is revealed here and what was before it. Do you understand? So believe is different from follow. The word believe is different from follow. We are supposed to follow the Quran alone. God never asked you to follow any other book. But you can believe the previous books. Yes, we believe. The Torah, the Injil, we believe. If I believe something doesn't necessarily mean I have to follow it. Understand the difference. But the Quran, we have to believe and follow it. That is the instructions. You see? Okay. Then The next one says what? Momade Pedro says, tell me then from where we start to wipe our legs and to which end. You wipe your kru. When we say kru or krura, you start below the knees. You wipe downwards. Just like your hands, you wipe your hands to the elbow. That is your hands. وَأَيْدِيَكُمْ إِلَى الْمَرَافِقِ. So this is just in alignment, just like your knee. So your kneecap here goes down. Same with your hand. From here goes here. From here goes back. You understand? So you are wiping your leg. Arjulakum. God didn't say akdamakum, right? Wa arjulakum ila al-ka'bayn. So it's showing you a distance of a length, a combination of a length. Ila wa arjulakum ila al-ka'bayn. So you start from a point going. That's why for the hand, wa aydiyakum ilal is a length, right? So understand this instance. I have a video on it on my YouTube. I'll be doing a video again in the near future, inshallah. Which one is your question? He says you skipped my question about animal sacrifice. Can you repeat it? I have few minutes to go. I have like about 12 minutes to go. So you actually find 3 salats in the Quran. Quran chapter 11, verse 114. Quran chapter 17, verse 78 to 79 is a repetition of what is in chapter 11, verse 114. There are 3 salats. One in the early morning, one in the evening, and one in the midnight, right? The midnight one is a nafila, right? Nafila. So in the daytime, you have 2 salats. You have the morning and the evening. That's it. You understand? So it's just 3 salats. There's no 5 salats in the Quran. So Dangana says, when you are blessed with a child, do you have to do any animal sacrifice? The answer is no. It's not compulsory. If you want to do it to just say thank you to God, fine. I don't remember the mother of Jesus ever slaughtering any lamb to say, oh, I'm going to slaughter a cow or lamb to say, to name my kid. I don't remember the mother of Musa alayhi salam slaughtering any cow or lamb to name her child. The parents of Muhammad alayhi salam, I don't think they slaughter any animal to say thank you, God, before naming him. The parents of Abraham, they didn't slaughter any animal to say, oh God, thank you, I have a child now, so this is a lamb for the naming ceremony. No. If you want to do it, halas, that's up to you, but that's not part of Islam. Even Nana Maryam, when a mother gave birth to her, Quran chapter 3, verse 35, 34, 35, 36, she named her Maryam, and then she dedicated her to God, but there's no instance of slaughtering an animal, right? Momade Pedro says, what is the difference between tasbih and salat? The word tasbih, it means glorification. The word salat, it means litany. Now, Quran chapter 24, verse 41, right? In Quran chapter 24, verse 41, even the birds, they know the difference between tasbih and then salat, right? So salat is a combination of a lot of collective things you do to get salat. Tasbih is only focused on glorification. You have to be glorifying God. So for instance, if I got up in the morning and I say Subhanallah or I say Alhamdulillah, we call it glorification. We call it tasbih. That is tasbih. So I can be saying Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, or Subhanallah, Subhanallah. This is glorification. Because I'm praising God and glorifying God. That is God. And that you can do it even at the time of salat or outside the time of salat. You can do it in your salat and out of your salat. But when it comes to salat itself, I've already explained what salat is earlier on in this lecture. So kindly watch again. I don't want to keep repeating myself again. So I explained the salat, the litany in the beginning, right? So Abdullah Abir says, Ya Habib, what is your take on the Ummah saying Ya or Allahumma? We have something, but we would like to see what you think first. I already have a video on it. I did a video concerning Dr. Hani Hachan, right? It's on my YouTube. You go to my live video section, my live lectures. I spoke about it. I think it's one of my last full lectures I did. Okay, last 3 lectures. I spoke about that, right? So God's name is Allah. You will never find in the Quran where Allah, the name Allah, comes with the word Ya, right? Ya, you know, see, but when it comes to his title, like a Rabb, we see in Quran chapter 25, verse 30, where the messenger says, Ya Rabbi, inna qawmi takhazu hazal Qur'ana ma'ajura. So by using the title Rabb, yes, we have seen the Ya, but we never see any example of the name Allah going with Ya Allah. It goes Allahumma. The spelling of the word Allah, it is the same use in Allahumma. The difference is what? The ma. Allahu is there, but the ma is used next to the name Allah. So you understand? Then you have Allahumma. So we don't call God by his name, and we say Ya Allah. We don't see that in the Quran. You don't ever see any prophet or messenger doing that, right? So that is why it's not befitting for us to address God by his name and then add the word Ya. We rather do it the way he commanded the messengers, Quran chapter 3, verse 26, as he commanded the prophet. Then we also say Allahumma. That is the definition there. Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, tasbih can be done. If you go to Quran chapter 20, verse 130, you see the times you can do tasbih. Quran chapter 20, verse 130, you can do tasbih in the morning. You can do it in the evening. You can do it in the night. You can do it even in the parts of the day. You can be doing tasbih. There's nothing wrong. So in the olden days, we see our parents holding this rosary, the things with the beads. They hold it and they do tasbih. That's why we call it tasbih or tasbih. You kept doing it, subhanallah, alhamdulillah. They do it constantly. Maybe in the daytime, you see them with those things, right? Thank you for doing this. The Quran says that following Islam should be easy and not a burden, but the 5 prayers and the things the Sunni believe makes Islam difficult. Yes, according to Quran chapter 22, verse 78, God says he is the one who has chosen you and has not placed any difficulty upon you in the deen. So if you find you practicing a religion which is difficult, ask yourself the question, is it from God? Because how can God say something is not difficult and then you are finding it difficult? Then there's a problem. Do you see? Todd Moose Ivy says, Baba, I have a question regarding whether same-sex gender, man and woman relationships are halal or haram. They are considered as fahisha. And when we say fahisha, it is an immoral act. It is an obscenity. Quran chapter 7 verse 33 considers fahisha as haram. Quran chapter 7 verse 33 says, Kul innama harrama rabbi al-fawahisha. Kul innama harrama rabbi al-fawahisha. Ma zahara min wa ma batan. Right? So even if it is visible or hidden, it is forbidden by God. And we can clearly see in Quran chapter 27, verse 54 to 55, Prophet Lot was telling his people that this act is a fahisha, it's a fasha, it's an immoral act, it's an obscene act for a man and a man to actually go, those acts, right? This is according to the Quran. Yeah. Then Ghana says, Salat al-Fajr ends when, please? It ends when the sun rises. When the sun rises, Salat al-Fajr ends. When you say Fajr, that is the daybreak. That is the early morning before the sunrise. So Salat al-Fajr, as soon as sunrise, it is gone. Muhammad Salim says, a lot of people left Islam because of the harsh conditions imposed by the so-called scholars. Yes, that is what we call mental slavery. They want to enslave the people by using force and legislations which are not approved by God, right? That is why they brought the apostate law. In certain so-called Islamic countries, when you say you are not a Muslim again publicly, they have to declare you apostate and they want to kill you. This is all not Islamic. You never find a verse in the Quran where God says somebody decides not to be a Muslim again, you should kill him. It doesn't exist. You understand? So Quran chapter 42 verse 21. Am lahum shuraka ushara'u lahum min ad-din ma lam yazanu bihillah. Do they have idols who have legislated for them of a religion to which God has not authorized? Do they have such legislation? You understand? Do they have idols who give them such legislation in the deen which God has not authorized? You understand? So people form doctrines and put out legislations in the religion which God doesn't authorize. And that is why they formulate these lies and then burden people's life with it. You understand? So it's not part of Islam. So thank you. You're welcome, Totmus. Yeah. Kudisia says what? She said Fahisha in Lord's story is that they were forcing or what? I don't understand your question. Thank you very much, Sanya Oscar. I appreciate that. Nini Salat says, Nini Musta says, Zoroastrians did Salat. Yes, Salat is a litany, an act of litany. Salat didn't only start with, Prophet Muhammad. It's already been there. You understand? The prophets, all the prophets did. Go to Quran chapter 98, verse 58 to 59. All the prophets did the Salat. Ibu says, brother, may Allah increase you in nur. Thank you. I appreciate that. And to you too, likewise. Charitable Citizen, that's a cool office. Is it real or just a background? It's real. You like it, huh? Okay, we'll bring some to your house. Charitable Citizen, don't worry. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm bringing this topic to an end. I appreciate your presence and your support. At least we have had over 50 people viewing this, which is not bad, which is good. Thank you all for tuning in. This is JC Radio TV. It's an online TV and radio based in Finland, and I appreciate the support. And let's grow this channel. Let's make this channel become a bigger platform. They have multiple different programs they normally handle. And thanks to Brother Joe for giving me the opportunity to present this to my audience and to the people out there, right? That Islam is not isolated to Arabs. Islam is for everybody. Quran is not isolated to the Arabs. Quran is for everybody. Quran chapter 2 verse 185. Sharu Ramadan allazi unzila fihi al-Quran hudan linnas. So Quran is to serve as a guidance for mankind. So never think because you find Quran in Arabic language means it's a foreign book and you are away from it. Now, that is why God made it Quran Mubin or Kitab Mubin, right? He made it plain and clear. So approach the book, find the correct translations, and then enjoy reading the book, right? Just like the translation I put up there. This is translation I did. It took me 6 years to accomplish this. And then there's a website for it. Of course, thegreatquran.com. You can find it. You can go, even though we are just still doing some touch-ups, but you enjoy the Quran, right? And this is why God has blessed Baba Shuaib with such a knowledge to be able to present this knowledge and make it accessible to people. Like I said, when God gives you money, it's not only for you. He gives you knowledge, it's not only for you. You have to share it with the people. He gives you wisdom, not only for you. You share it with the people. Same goes with health and everything. So I appreciate your support and your presence. Baba Saidu, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you for your presence. Musa Khan, thank you. I appreciate that. Sanyar Oscar, thank you very much. Momadi Pedro, God bless you. Thank you. Fatima Chin, I appreciate your presence. God bless you. Abir, Abdullah Abir, I have a link. If you can inbox me on Facebook, I'll send you the link where you can get the copy, right? If you need the PDF version, just try to reach me via my correctional officer number. I can give you a free PDF version. That is the number on the screen, right? You can contact me on my WhatsApp number. the correctional officer, then I can give you the PDF version to enjoy, right? But if you need the hardcover version, then yes, kindly inbox me via my WhatsApp number. I'll send you the link where you can get the hardcover version. Yeah, thank you very much, Dangana. I appreciate that. Bilal Jibril, thank you for the support. I appreciate that. Ayivor Ibrahim Donko, thank you. Nul says, thank you, Baba. Thank you. Again, I'm organizing this charity event, which I normally do every year, about 2 times in a year, right? This is the Hop Nima GoFundMe, right? So the link will be available, right? Of course, I've started sharing it, but I'll be putting it on my page where we can do the donation, where we feed the old people in Accra, right? Nima, Accra, the community I come from. We feed the old people, grown-ups, right? So I'll be putting the links where it is accessible for people. I've already shared some in my WhatsApp groups, but you see it, right? So we are targeting between middle of, let's say, end of September, October. By the time we reach November, we have already been able to feed about 100 or more, right? So this is our target this time. And hopefully I'll be sharing the links where the donations can be happening. So thank you all for the support. And I appreciate the support. Kudisiya, thank you. Moha True, thank you. I appreciate that. Haruna Ghana, thank you. The WhatsApp number, I put it on the page, is here. You can see it there. Here on the screen, that is the WhatsApp number. That is WhatsApp number. So if you play back the video, you see it, right? So that you can get in touch. So Moha True, thank you. Right, I appreciate you. Thank you all. Thank you all for the support. Abdullah Abir, thank you. I appreciate you all. Those who are here, those who are not here, Salih, Jimmy, Mawia, Sister Jamila, Sister Rashida, thank you all for the support and keeping up the hopes alive. I appreciate your support. Thank you all for those who are joining later and now. Thank you all. I appreciate it. And then we get to see again next week, Wednesday, inshallah. I'll be holding my own platform and on my own page. And thank you very much, Restless Native. I appreciate your presence also. Thank you all, Sister Alma Johnson, Fatima Chin, everybody. I appreciate your support. I appreciate the love. Let's keep it alive, and let's hope to meet again soon. So this is where Correctional Officer come to an end, and thanks to God, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen.